On a first-round playoff exit and an impactful offseason, the Philadelphia Eagles are looking to take their next step back towards prominence. Here to talk about what he's seen so far this preseason is Locked On Eagles host Louie DiBiase. How are you doing today, Louie?
I'm doing good, Cal. A lot of expectations for this Eagles team in 2022, but it makes sense. They look great on paper. I know in the past that hasn't resulted in success, but I feel like it's going to be a little bit different this year.
So you've been at open practice. You've been to the preseason game in Cleveland. Tell me what you've seen from this team so far.
I'm really excited. Again, on paper, I thought this offseason, this team improved more than maybe anybody in the NFL outside of the quarterback position. That's still the biggest question. And then to see them at the open practice at Lincoln Financial Field, to hear about what's been going on in camp with the joint practices with the Cleveland Browns, to see it up close and personal on Sunday too. You can see the potential. You can see the floor, but you can also see the ceiling for this team. On defense, the personnel looks much improved. They look way more creative on that side of the ball to stop these high-octane offenses. And on offense, I mean, outside of you go back to 2010 with Michael Vick, Deshaun Jackson, Jeremy Maclin, and LaShawn McCoy, I can't tell you the last time this offense has had this kind of explosive young talent. So I think the sky's the limit for this team, as long as number one at quarterback can make sure that he runs what I call the F1 car. The car is ready. They just need their driver to, take it to the ceiling it can get to.
And right there with Jalen Hurts in the driver's seat is head coach Nick Sirianni and his coaching staff. And then they're headed into year two as a coaching staff. What are you expecting to see in terms of adjustments from them this coming season?
Yeah, I think, last year, Nick Sirianni starting off the season, the first 6-7 weeks, they wanted to throw the football. They want to be a high volume, high efficient passing offense in the NFL because that's what it takes to be a long-term sustained championship contender. That's how teams win Super Bowls. It's how the Eagles won a Super Bowl 5 years ago back in 2017. But Nick Sirianni and Shane Steichen, the offensive coordinator, they did adjust when they learned that Hurts and that entire offense wasn't ready to be that passing attack. So they ran the football in the second half more than any team in the NFL. They were the number one rushing offense. They went 7-2 down the stretch, and they made the playoffs. I think this coaching staff on both sides of the ball, they're going to maximize the strengths of their personnel, but they do have a set philosophy of who they want to be. And that's why, and it's the general manager, it's the owner as well. It's why they traded for A.J. Brown. It's why they extended Dallas Goedert. It's why they drafted Devontae Smith last year. It's why they continue to invest in the offensive line. They're going to try to get back to the formula they had at the beginning of the season and hope it results differently now with a new improved passing attack. And hopefully Jalen Hurts takes that next step.
While the passing attack should certainly be a focus this year, I kind of think it's a make or break season for Miles Sanders in the running game as well. Obviously he can enter free agency after the season. So I just kind of want to know, what do you think Miles Sanders does this year? And do you think he's sticking around past 2022 for the Eagles?
Yeah, look, I get the concerns with Miles Sanders when it comes to the health. Miles Sanders has really not been able to stay healthy since he was drafted in the second round back in 2019, but I'm a little less hard on Sanders than I feel like maybe some Eagles fans, because I think when he's on the football field, he's great. He's been one of the most efficient running backs through the air and on the ground since he was drafted back in 2019. One of only a few running backs to ever average, 5 yards a carry in his first 3 years, 1,000 yards from scrimmage each year you can bank on. It's the injuries that are the big issue. When it comes to the contract, his position is the bigger issue. It's running back. Even if he has that breakout season this year, I don't know, that actually might hurt his chances of getting an extension with the Eagles, because I don't know if this franchise, philosophy-wise, is willing to pay a running back a lot of money. So it's going to be interesting. I'm not sure if anything he does this year will really dictate his market dramatically. It will be interesting to see how they go about this, though, after this year. I think Sanders, if he can stay healthy, he's still one of the more talented running backs in football.
Like you said, the Philadelphia Eagles, they want to be a passing offense. And now with this group of receivers that they have, man, they really should be. Is this going to be finally the season that the Eagles have a 1,000-yard receiver for the first time in several years?
It has not happened, Cal, since 2014 with Jeremy Maclin. Both guys, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, and even Dallas Goedert at tight end, have the potential to go over 1,000 yards. It's really not about them. As I said, it's about Jalen Hurts, and if they can pass the football very consistently with high volume this year, because I truthfully believe this is one of the best wide receiver duos in the NFL. And Cal, I think this is the best receiver duo when it comes to a complete skill set and for their age the Eagles have ever had. Over Harold Carmichael and Mike Quick, over Deshaun Jackson and Jeremy Maclin, over the Super Bowl weapons. I think they've never had a combo like Brown and Smith. So they should. It would not look great if they did not have a 1,000-yard receiver this year. I don't think, though, it would be on them. Again, the success of the passing attack this year, it's really on the back of Hurts.
So going to the defensive side of the ball, I mean, They made moves all over the field. Every level of the defense got an addition. I'm going to start up front. Could Jordan Davis be an NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year sleeper?
It's interesting. I think he could be. It depends on how they rotate this defensive line because Fletcher Cox is still in Philadelphia on that 1-year deal. Javon Hargrave is coming off a career season. By the way, he's in a contract year as well. We know how players perform in contract years. They have Milton Williams still. So I don't know. It's going to be tough. And you also got to, figure out what Davis's role is in pass rushing situations. Is he going to stay on the field on third down? I think he has a skill set to do that. I don't think he's the traditional nose tackle. Some thought he was in the draft. So it just depends on how much playing time he really gets. I do think it's maybe good odds because this defense, the way they want to run this year compared to last year, a lot of that is predicated on Jordan Davis being on the field. They need that kind of player to run this scheme the way they want. So it's maybe not a bad bet. There's a lot of different factors, but we've already seen a lot of eye-popping plays from Davis this year. He's kind of a unicorn with that athleticism and that size. So either way, can't wait to see him on the field this year. He's certainly going to make an impact.
I'm going to jump to that next level of the defense, talk about Nekobi Dean a little bit. This is what everyone wants to talk about. Everyone wants to see him at the field at linebacker, but for once in a very long time, the Eagles are pretty well stocked at the linebacker position. How much do you think Dean's going to see the field this year?
Yeah, it's weird to be talking about linebacker in a positive light for the Eagles. They're very deep. Nekobi Dean has kind of been buried on the depth chart this summer. He's been the the linebacker rotating in because Kazir White, the the player they signed on a 1-year deal coming over from the Chargers, he's had an amazing summer. TJ Edwards as well, they're saying has been one of the best linebackers or defensive players overall at camp. Davian Taylor looks much improved heading into year 3. But I tell you what, I knew the minute the preseason was going to start, Nekobi Dean is a gamer, and he really has impressed over the last 2 weeks. I think it's only a matter of time before he does become a full-time player on defense. Like Davis, I think for the first half of the season, probably won't be the case. He'll probably be a rotational player, but it's only a matter of time. I think Dean's going to be one of the steals of the draft this year. The fact that they got him in the 3rd round, I can't imagine that'll ever happen again with the injuries.
A third and final level of the defense. The Eagles, they have a lot of depth up top. You have Darius Slay, you have James Bradbury and Avonte Maddox, but even including the secondary position in this a little bit, there's not a ton of depth after that. It's a little bit scary if somebody goes down with an injury. You think they have enough depth there to make it through the season?
Yeah, again, on paper, the cornerback position looks as good as it has in over a decade for the Eagles with Bradbury, Slay, and Maddox. But you're right, Cal. I think the depth at corner is very suspect. It's a lot of young, inexperienced players leading off with 4th-round pick in 2021, Zech McPherson. The safety group, too, very concerning how thin that looks at the top and at the bottom. Right now the starter is going to be Marcus Epps and Anthony Harris, but I think they're very top-heavy in the defensive backfield. But I think that trio of corners, along with the improved linebackers and the deep defensive line, is going to make up for it. I don't think safety in the depth at corner is going to really make or break the defense this year, but it definitely is something on the to-do list next offseason is to build the depth in the backfield.
So we touched on a lot of different areas of the team, but I think we all know the conversation starts and ends with the Eagles when it comes to with Jalen Hurts. So is it going to happen this year? Is he going to take that next step? Is he going to be able to elevate the Eagles to to a playoff win this coming season?
It's a great question, and he has to answer it this year because the Eagles have 2 first-round picks next year in a strong quarterback class. Like I said, this offense wants to throw the football. It's how you win championships. I'm not sure. I'm skeptical that he can be an elite quarterback. He's going to take the Josh Allen year 3 step. I don't know if he has that skill set, but I think he's going to be much improved from 2021. And sounds like this summer, a lot of the areas he needed to improve this year to take that step, sounds like it's all coming together. And this offense is much improved around him that even if they got the 2021 version of Jalen Hurts, that can still lead to a playoff win with this improved roster. I think it could even lead to a deep run. But you have to add context to wins. And is he going to be somebody you win because of or win with? I'm still not sure, but I think he's certainly going to be improved. Is he going to be improved enough long-term? That's the big question that he's got to answer this year. It's make or break time for Jalen, but it's an exciting opportunity and he's got the weapons to really answer it with no excuses.
For all your latest Eagles news and coverage, Louie DiBiase and Gino Camilleri have it at Locked On Eagles, anywhere you get your podcast. So thanks, Louie, for joining us today.
Thanks, Cal.